Hello everyone, my name is Cyrus LaFontaine. I am 17 years old and I go to Heritage High School. My parents are Sherry Thunderhawk and Ian LaFontaine.
Hi, my name is Krista Bass. I'm 17 years old and I am a senior at Heritage High School. My father is Freddie Bass, who also served in the Army.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Veterans Day Assembly. My name is Lovely Jones. My parents are Stephen and Carly Jones. My grandparents are Stephen Jones Sr. and Audrey Charles. I'm a Tulalip tribal member, and I'm also a 12th grader here at Heritage High School.
Good morning, my name is Georgette Reeves. My parents are George Reeves Jr. and Beatrice Reeves. My grandparents are Lee Parks and George Reeves Sr. I am 17 years old and a senior of Heritage High School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Caitlin Burns. My parents are Michelle and William Burns. My grandparents are Roxanne and Dan Gensler. I am 17 years old, a Kootenai tribal member, and a senior of Heritage High School.
Today there is and probably will always be conflict in the world. But the United States fortunately enjoys peace and freedom. Like other things of great value, this security did not come cheaply. Part of the cost has already been paid by the Americans who answered the call to military duty when their country needed them most. They served 11 wars from the Revolutionary to the Persian Gulf, earning the special distinction veteran. But another part of freedom's cost must continue to be paid long after the guns have been silenced. This debt is owed to America's veterans. Some need their country's help even as their country once needed theirs. To readjust, to recover from wounds, to overcome hardships of age and infirmity. Most ask in nothing in repayment for their sacrifices. Let us continue to help those veterans in need with the greatest possible compassion and efficiency. To the rest, since they ask no special help, we can best pay tribute to this day by recognizing what they have achieved and joining them in their resolve to keep America strong and free.
Native Americans have participated in every major U.S. military encounter from the Revolutionary War through today's conflicts in the Middle East. According to Department of Defense statistics, they serve at a higher rate in proportion to their population than any other ethnic group. Contributions by American Indians, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians have saved lives, enabled our country's victories, and exemplified the courage that defines American patriotism. They are Purple Heart recipients, Bronze Star Medal honorees, and many have been recognized with the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest military award of the United States. There are 31,000 American Indian and Alaska Native men and women who are on active duty today. 18.6% of Native Americans have served in the post-9/11 period at a higher percentage than people of other ethnicities. There are 140,000 of living Native American veterans.
We would like to invite the Tulalip singers to sing for our veterans. like to invite any Toledo veterans to come up and speak.
Hello, my name is William C. McLean III, United States Marine Corps, 2003 to 2007. I currently work in the Toledo Veterans Department, so I put the word out to all our veterans that you guys were having this assembly today, and I appreciate you guys for having it and for everyone in attendance. Everyone's being respectful, paying attention. I appreciate that. It reflects well upon yourselves and your teachers and your schools. I think it's important to be respectful. And the whole part of when I went to the military was to honor my family, my tribe, my people, my country. I remember I was getting ready for school. I graduated from MP in 03. I was getting ready for school one day, and I come downstairs and I was getting some breakfast, and my grandpa told me to come look at the TV, and I went and looked, and the Twin Towers were falling over on the other side of the country, and it was kind of from that moment on I knew that I was going to serve. And it probably didn't help that my grandpa and my dad were both Marines, so it was a couple different things. But that was the thing that kind of sparked for me. I wanted to protect what I felt was important. And I know one person doesn't do a lot, but a lot of one person's working together can achieve a lot of good things. So once again, I just want to thank you. Normally we would have more veterans, but a lot of them are concerned about COVID-19. So don't take any offense to only 3 of us showing up. Usually there'd be more. We're not even having our annual Veterans Day event this year because of COVID. So on behalf of the few of us that are here, John Campbell, Hank Williams, I just want to say thank you for having this event today, and the seniors for speaking and doing your part today. I appreciate everyone that's here. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you. My name is Hank Williams. I was in the Army during the Korean War, but I was sent to Germany. And I was in the 2nd Armored Division. And what I like to honor is my relatives that was in the Army. My uncle, he was in the Air Force, Australia. He was an airplane mechanic, fixed planes that were shot up and sent him back out again. And 3 other uncles that fought in Europe. 2 came home, but 1 didn't make it. And a cousin, 2 cousins in Korea. They didn't make it. But I had numerous other cousins that went and come back. One was wounded. And most of all, I would like to honor my grandfather. He was in the First World War. He was in the Army. He was an engineer. He was working in woods, falling trees down, making a road. And 2 of his men got picked off by a sniper. He told me the story when he was alive. Now, it was him and I would go hunting together or go fishing. And he said, the lieutenant pulled him back and told him, send me to go get that so-and-so. And nobody said anything. He said, I'll go get him. The lieutenant says, yeah, you go get him and you make sure, bring proof that you got him. Okay. So he went around the back, all around, took him about half an hour to crawl up the hill, find out where he was at. He finally seen him up in the tree leaning him, big limb. He picked him off and he fell and he walked over there. And he brought me this evidence to the lieutenant and walked in there and threw 2 liters on the desk. The lieutenant says, "Get those things out of here, you damn Indian." And he says, "You said to bring evidence that I got him." There he is. So that's a story that he told me that he was. And he told me another thing too. He was in the army during an epidemic like this COVID now, COVID-19 now. But it was worse. No faith. People were dying on the streets, dying all over the place. And he didn't get sick. He said that I lived through it. So I honor those people. My cousins that were killed in Korea. Two cousins killed in Korea. Numerous of them came back. One friend was killed in Vietnam. Friends I played football with in high school. And other friends that didn't make it back, 2 Western boys that didn't make it back from Walter High School. Whatever. And I honor a lot of the women that went in. I honor them because they're bravery. Because when you go in the army, I was drafted in, and I was kind of scared. Everybody was scared. But once you get into it and go on, you have to, they tell you got to be good to save your life. You go through basic training, you listen to everything that's told you, that's to save your life. And that's what I was learning. But I thank these guys here. And we have many more at home. I don't know why, maybe they don't feel good or whatever now. Our veterans nowadays are getting up in age. I'm 90 years old. Right now I'll be 90 in another couple of weeks, 91 in another couple of weeks. So I'm glad I can come up and say a few words with you. And maybe a few more years I can stay around. I enjoy watching my grandchildren, great-grandchildren play ball, go to school, and learn how to make a good living. So I thank you. I thank the drummers.
Hello, my name is John Campbell. I served in the United States Army from June of 1967 to June of 1969. Back in, I believe in 1929, a woman started a program called Gold Star Mothers, and it was to give all the mothers recognition for losing a loved one in the war, a son or a daughter or a husband or a wife. But anyway, I have 2 Gold Star mothers. My grandmother, Katrina Jim, she was married to a Maurice James. They had a son, Elson James, and they didn't have the draft in 1918. And he joined the Army and fought and died, and he wasn't even a U.S. citizen because American Indians didn't get citizenship until 1924. But he avoided bombs and bullets and poisonous gases, but that's when the Spanish flu epidemic occurred. And so he got the flu and died in a hospital in France. And my mother, Catherine Campbell, I had a younger brother. He fought and died in Vietnam. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, veterans. We are also honored to have Mr. Chet Decker to speak after seeing a little biography about him. Mr. Chet Decker is a fourth grade teacher next door at Cosita Tulip Elementary School. Prior to becoming a teacher, Mr. Decker was a policeman for 16 years for the Seattle Police Department. And just prior to that, he served 8 years in the active duty United States Marine Corps from 1996 to 2003. Home based mostly in North Carolina and Virginia, Mr. Decker was deployed all over the world, including the Middle East, Northern Europe, and extensively in Central and South America. Mr. Decker had several jobs while a Marine, including serving as a sergeant, a firearms instructor, and mostly as a journalist, historian, and media representative for the Marines. He interviewed many veterans during his time in the service and has authored more than 2,000 newspaper, magazine articles. He also met and was photographed with President Clinton and President Bush. He is currently conducting research for his first book, a book about fighting a World War II battle known as Satan.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here to be able to talk about veterans. It's a passion of mine to kind of further the cause, United States veterans. As you heard, I'm a United States Marine. Part of my job in the Marines, as you heard, was to teach others about our nation's heroes. I brought my fourth grade class with me so they could learn a little bit from QCT next door. I want to talk to you about Veterans Day, what it means to me and everyone I've ever met who's ever worn the uniform. Some of what I'm going to talk about may be kind of difficult to imagine. I've toned it down quite a bit for kids. But even the smallest of children should know how hard our military worked for our freedom. When I think of Veterans Day, I think of its purpose, to honor the living veteran that is alive and well. At least alive, because for quite a few veterans, well is a relative term. And the men and women I know who have served simply won't accept any honors without recognizing and remembering the thousands upon thousands of American servicemen and women who lost their lives to help us gain our freedom. There have been 1.1 million of them. The Civil War, 500,000 were killed. World War II, 400,000. Vietnam, 58,000. Iraq, 4,500. Afghanistan, 2,500. When you think of veterans, you may think of a young Marine charging across a beach in the Pacific, rallying his fellow Marines to do the same, charging at machine guns to blast the enemy, to kingdom come. Perhaps the Star-Spangled Banner is playing in the background. Maybe you saw a movie like that. Maybe you think of a drafted soldier destroying an enemy hideout in the jungles of Vietnam. You can almost hear a Jimi Hendrix song as the troops wait to go back to base to enjoy a cold beverage and steak. But in reality, combat is much different than that. It's loud, it's confusing, it happens very fast, and there is no music playing. No one's smiling, it's dirty, heartbreaking, and oftentimes someone's mother or wife here in the United States is going to get a cold visit from a government employee that will deliver news that will devastate lives. For the veteran that survives it, it almost definitely leaves scars that by definition will never go away. Sure, when I think of Veterans Day, I think of those Marines and Army soldiers in World War II, or armed forces in Vietnam, but I think of much more. Dying in a war seems almost too clean-cut, too righteous. What can be more deserving of our love and respect than dying for our country? It's not glamorous. I also think of those that died in the moments of time that didn't involve Nazis or freedom fighters or British redcoats shooting back at them. My mind actually goes to a moment when I was a brand new Marine. The first time I realized what could happen to those serving in uniform. The Marine Corps was conducting one of countless maneuvers offshore, ferrying troops onto a ship via helicopter. And as has happened before and since that day 27 years ago, the chopper missed its mark by a mere feet, the helicopter flipped over, and it slipped into the Pacific Ocean. A couple near the door somehow were able to swim towards the light as the heavy metal aircraft slipped to the ocean's bottom. But 11 Marines and sailors, some of which I knew, were not so lucky. Today I woke up with my family around me. My wife made a breakfast, our sons were gearing up for school, our 2 cats were skirting around the house. I was able to take a nice hot shower. My point, it's during times like this, mourning on a day when we're celebrating Veterans Day, when I realize how lucky we are to have an amazing military to protect us. I often think about those 11 Marines that will never get to experience the joys of life again. Most of them had not yet married. A couple of them had. A couple had babies at home. I seriously think about what they went through in those final moments, how scared they were and the panic. I think of that young Marine private dying on some white sandy beach in World War II. There were thousands of them, tens of thousands of them. All the ships full of sailors sunk in the vast oceans, the pilots who never landed. I think of the young soldiers stepped on a landmine in Vietnam or perhaps Afghanistan. I assure you that there was no glory for them, there was no music. How about that young Minuteman fighting for our independence, say at Bunker Hill in Massachusetts in 1775, one of many who sacrificed so much. Many of them never lived to experience the glory a lot of them were able to feel when the British finally gave up and the newly minted Americans realized that they had done it. They created our great country. What about that poor farmer from Mississippi that fought on the losing side of a war? Or the Yankee who fell at Shiloh? How about the 4 recruiters in Tennessee, 2015, when a terrorist decided to open fire on Marines wearing their dress uniforms who weren't even at war? They were just sitting in an office in America. It goes on and on. Just the other day, a training accident at Fort Lewis down the road here. We need to remember the scores of servicemen and women who died accidentally when they took the extreme risk of shooting up in uniform and putting themselves in dangerous situations. If you want to honor our country today on this important American holiday, and I encourage you to do so, if you want to honor a veteran, simply Google something like "soldier killed in Vietnam" or "another Marine lost in Iraq." Share what you read with a loved one or a classmate. Remember the names you read about. I'm honored to be a teacher here on the homeland of the Tulalip tribes of Washington. Tulalip tribes, like numerous Native American tribes, has a long history of defending America. We see it right up front here. 3 American heroes right here. There are numerous indigenous peoples who received the Medal of Honor, for example, the top award given for bravery in combat. If you want to learn more, simply search the internet for Native American heroes. You can learn a lot. You can learn about the Navajo Code Talkers, a specially trained group of Navajo Indians, mostly from the Arizona area. They used their native language to help Marine Corps units communicate during World War II. Enemy soldiers were listening, had no idea what the Navajo Marines were saying. They risked their lives, some gave their lives to help America win the war. They were coding and decoding secret communication. To do that, they had to be right in the middle of the fight to tell the commanders what to do next. But you know, there's one Marine that stands out the most in my mind, former Corporal Paul Rivers, now a United States Marshal. He just retired actually the other day. Rivers was lying in a bunk in Beirut, Lebanon in 1983, gathering himself to get out of bed in the uniform for duty. A terrorist drove a van full of explosives to the walls of his barracks. He remembers a tremendous light and waking up pinned under concrete with a plumbing pipe melting onto him. He ended up in a hospital next to dead and dying Marines, and I won't tell you what he remembers seeing and hearing. Of more than 100 servicemen on the floor in his barracks, 100 Marines. He's one of only 2 that lived. He cried when he told his story about how everyone in the room with him, including his best friends, died. When he told me my brothers would have wanted me to carry on, I cried with him. Paul Rivers carries the weight of being one of a handful of surviving Marines in that 1983 terrorist attack that killed 241 American servicemen. Surely many who were sleeping never even knew what hit them. You can be sure that he remembers those patriots that surely did not want to die for their country, but did anyway. That American flag right up there means a lot to families who lost a loved one in battle or had a loved one come back a shell of his or her former self. It still means a lot to the troubled veteran that may struggle with alcohol or drugs, riddled with guilt that he survived. And it means a lot to anyone who wore the uniform. All the servicemen that died for our country weren't actually thinking of Stars and Stripes and Lady Liberty, though, when they did what they did. They were simply trying to do their part, like the gentleman said. Just one of many, trying to protect their friends next to the left and right of him. We're all Americans. Many of us love that flag. It But we didn't need to earn the right to wave that flag because brave men and women did that for us, and they weren't alone. There are elders here on this sacred land that did their part for America. Some are teachers in this school, others nearby. Some work in casinos or at the Walmart, or maybe go to your local church. Take today and tomorrow when you don't have school, for the coming week, to thank them. Whether they served in the Marine Corps, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, or the Air Force or the Coast Guard, or any of our National Guard or Reserve components. Next door at QCT, there's Miss Gertie, an Iraq veteran, Iraq War from the U.S. Navy. Mrs. Page's son, Trent Ryan, is a Marine Corps sniper. At QCT, we have Mrs. Smith, a veteran. Ms. Bashore, a Marine. I remember more than 1.1 million people that have died for that flag, and the majority of their stories will just never be told, right? We can't remember them all. But for me, in a certain way, the gracefulness and beauty of that American flag blowing in the wind tells those stories of those 1.1 million that never came home. Just in recent years, several good men left this immediate area to serve in Iraq or Afghanistan and never returned, except for their funerals. There's Marine Sean Starkovich of Arlington, Army, Justin Herbert of Arlington, Marine Cody Calavan of Lake Stevens. They're not statistics, they're human beings. They had mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, they had cats and dogs. A few of them were even old enough to have lived long enough to fall in love or maybe have children. There's Army Jordan Hess of Marysville, Army Sergeant Charles Matheny Stanwood, Marine Jeffrey Starr of Snohomish. We don't know all of their names, of course, but let's not forget them. Let's stand together, or we could just stand up for just a moment if we could. And let's just salute, if you can, just salute all those who have served or have sacrificed the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. We would like to invite the Chile Lip Singers to come up and sing.
Oh,
to sing the closing song. Thank you all for coming to honor our veterans. Veterans, please stand by. We have a gift for you. On behalf of our 12th grade CWP class, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming, especially the veterans for coming forward to our Veterans Assembly.